What's up guys, welcome to Munchkin's Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkin's logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome back to another Should You Pull video, where I give you my opinions for upcoming banners coming to the global version of the game. In today's video, we are going to take a look at Kurasame's event banner, which obviously features Kurasame, which is a brand new character coming to the global version of the game. So we're going to take a look at his entire kit. There are no other reworks at the time of the release of this event, so this video is basically concentrating on Kurasame himself. Now I am recording this a little bit early, but it will be released maybe about 3 or 4 days before the actual event, so hello future. But anyway, let's take a look at his abilities. First off, his first ability called Ice Blade Slash, which basically just an ice melee brave plus HP attack, which gives him the silent instructor buff for 4 turns, and this will increase the target's active ice prison by 1 level. So ice prison is basically his kind of like special mechanic. Alright, it's a special debuff that increases the HP damage taken by the target. Now this starts at 10% and goes by increments by 5% for each stack. Now this will have a total of 5 stacks, and this also lowers the enemy speed and will inflict them with an Ice Imperil debuff. So the Quiet Instructor, on the other hand, raises the party's max brave and attack, and as well as granting himself an ice enchant. His second ability is Multi Blizzaga MIS2. Now this is going to do a 3-hit group ice melee brave plus group HP attack, which will have an HP split damage. This will also inflict the target's 3 turns of 1 level of prison, ice prison. Now again, like I said, this has a limit of 5, and I have explained it earlier what that basically is. It's basically this Hyoro. So that is Ice Prison. Okay, now let's take a look at the extensions for these 2 abilities. Now Ice Blade Slash will get 2 extra uses, going up to 7 now, because it is 5, right? Yeah, 5. So up to 7 uses, and it will increase the brave hit count to 7, which is a huge boost. Again, increasing the potency, and will have a 150% max brave overflow limit. He will also have access to his brave attack plus and HP attack plus while he has Silent Instructor active. Now for his Multi Blizzaga ability, this will have an increase in brave hit count to 6 and increasing the potency, and again having a 150% max brave overflow, the same as his first ability. This will also give him 1 extra ice prison level, and again with a limit of 5. Now let's take a look at his 15 and 35 CP. Now his 15 CP will increase the silent instructor duration by 4 turns, as well as improving the potency for his Ice Blade Slash. As for his 35 CP, this increases his ability to brave potency and increasing the brave damage when attacking a single target, as well as increasing the ice prison duration by 3. Now his EX weapon will give him the EX ability Ice Reaper, which is going to be a 3-hit AoE ice melee brave attack plus HP attack that is delivered twice. This will have a split HP damage and will increase the damage, brave damage when attacking a single target. This will also give 3 turns of 2 levels of Ice Prison, which again has a limit of 5, and he will have a buff for 4 turns called Ice Pillar. Now he will also, when attacking a enemy afflicted with Ice Prison, while he has Ice Pillar active, will trigger an HP attack. So he will do like a 2-hit ice melee brave plus HP attack, which also restores his brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt. So this is actually a pretty nice extra hits for Kurasame. You know, he basically only has to have the Ice Prison debuff, which for the most part he will have that, because all his abilities basically apply this debuff. So I'd be pretty surprised if you don't actually have this. Now Ice Pillar is the buff that he needs to coincide with Ice Prison in order to trigger Ice Pillar after HP attacks. So any HP attacks, he will do this straight away. So it's extra damage. It's nice. It's a good refund for his Brave as well, making sure he doesn't get broken. Now Ice Pillar does raise his attack and his max Brave once again, and at 1 out of 3 this will slightly increase the Brave damage dealt of the Ice Reaper ability, and at 2 out of 3 increasing the Ice Prison duration by 3 turns, and finally at 3 out of 3 this will increase its recast speed. Now this has a slightly slow at the start, so it is more on the slow side, but it should be normal now because of the increased recast speed. I still don't get how that really works. But anyway, if you do decide to EX plus and his weapon, he will have increased Brave potency at 0 out of 3 and will have a 120% max Brave overflow limit, as well as increasing the Ice Pillar duration by 4 turns, which is really nice because that means you can do more extra damage as well whenever he does an HP attack. At 1 out of 3 increasing his max Brave and attack, and at 2 out of 3 when the quest starts he will have that silent instructor buff for 8 turns, and he will at the start of the battle he will apply 6 turns of 2 levels of Ice Prison on any, I guess on every target. So that is really nice. That means you get to go up to the stack of Ice Prison very quickly, much more quicker. There you go. Those are the 2 phrases that I wanted to say. But one thing that I forgot about Ice Prison is, forgot to mention, is that once you hit the 5 and the enemies act after that, basically when it's their turn, when they finish their turn, God, I can't get the words out. So when they finish their turn, basically the stack goes back to 1, so you do have to keep reapplying and putting that buff up, and so you can do more damage. So that's basically it. And finally, at 3 out of 3 for this one, the Ice Reaper will now be a 6-hit AoE Ice Melee Brave plus AoE HP attack that is delivered twice. It will have increase in potency and increase in the max Brave overflow limit, and the Ice Pillar will now increase its hit count to 3 and increasing its total Brave potency. He will also have access to his Brave Attack plus plus and HP Attack plus plus, in which the HP Attack plus plus will have a 2-hit Brave hit count and will have a 120% max Brave overflow limit, as well as increasing the target's active Ice Prison by 1 level. So pretty generic, to be completely honest with you, apart from the increase of the Ice Prison level. Now for his LD, he will have the Absolute Zero LD ability, which is going to be an 8-hit AoE Ice Melee Brave plus AoE HP attack. The HP damage is going to be split on this one, and it will have an increase in Brave damage when attacking a single target. This will also have a 150% max Brave overflow limit and will grant himself a new buff called Warm Gaze. Now Warm Gaze basically is an aura that raises the party's attack and increasing the stolen Brave limit for them as well. So apart from that, he will also apply 6 turns of 5 levels of Ice Prison. So basically you're back to level 5 and doing, the max I do believe is like 30%. I think the math should be right? 30% extra HP damage. So that is very nice. However, this only has 2 uses at the start. However, it will have 3 uses altogether when you break this at 3 out of 3. At 1 out of 3 though, this will have increase in Brave damage dealt by Absolute Zero, as well as increasing his attack, and at 2 out of 3 this will increase the Warm Gaze buff duration by 6 turns, so making a total of 12 turns, which is really nice once again, because this is a party aura that is very good, and like I said, at 3 out of 3 this just gives it 1 extra use, as well as increasing his attack. So let's summarize what I think of Kurasame. Now, Kurasame, I think, is a very well diverse character that can play with a lot of different characters. Like, in terms of compositions, he's definitely there to help. He is sort of like more on the support side, to be completely honest with you guys. If we actually look at his profile information, he is, you know, listed as a support and a melee attackers. But to me, I would really put him more of a support character more than like a actual attacker, because a lot of his like the debuffs, the party aura is basically to help the entire team. So he is going to be able to help whichever party composition you put him in. He's going to do well. His ice prison, I suppose the only knockback to that is that it goes back to level 1. It doesn't stay at level 5. If it did, I mean, it's just insane, right? So to me, yeah, I feel like he's first and foremost a support and then an attacker, but you can still label him as an attacker first and support second, because his damage overall is not that bad, especially if you consider adding the 30%, you know, 10 to 30% extra damage that he's going to be dealing with Ice Prison. He's a nice Imperil as well, and he self-enchants. The only thing is, like, unfortunately, he doesn't enchant everyone. He just enchants himself, and even with his like C65 passives, it is more of an attack rather than anything else. So it would be nice if he had some sort of like ice enchant to everyone for his C65 as well. Like, if this does this plus like an ice enchant would be very, very nice. But overall, he is a pretty good character. Again, I can't stress enough how well he plays with any party composition. He doesn't you know, apply a lot of debuffs, and he has very few buffs himself. I guess it will be a total of 2, no, 3 if you include his LD buff as well. So, you know, he still has a lot of room to play around with. So I would really, really like to, you know, I guess build around Kurasame. And you can be very offensive, you can be defensive as well to a certain extent if you just want to rely on Kurasame's extra damage for your damage output. If you want to play safe, you know, he has that. He has some brave refunds as well, especially with his EX, basically EX ability. Remember, he does use that 2, I guess 3 hit. If you max limit break his EX weapon, it's a 3 hit, you know, brave plus HP attack, and then he refunds that 30%. There you go. So every time he attacks, you know, that's why I can say that you can label him as an attacker first, because he does well in that category as well. It's just, in my opinion, like the debuffs that he applies and the buffs of the party aura that he gives the entire party is so good that I would really label him like a support attacker rather than an attacker slash support. But again, you can interchange that the way you see him. But yeah, overall, a very, very good character, a powerful character that can play with any party composition. So I guess the final question remains is, should you pull? You know what? Kurasame has been hyped up ever since like maybe a month or 2 ago, and deservingly so, because like I said, he is going to play well with any party composition that you have. If you have more you have debuffers, hell, okay, he only needs like 1 slot, right? Because Ice Prison is the most important one. So it's no problem at all. He can play with debuffers, he can play with buffers, he has 3 extra slots. And you know, if you have a tag, then that's great. Whatever you want is great. So I think it is definitely a pull for me. I would use your tickets and use your gems as well. The only thing really is you have to, I guess if you want to maximize your damage, you have to time your attack, your HP attacks. But anyway, a lot of abilities now have Brave plus HP attacks, so I guess you can really just not think about it and you'll still do pretty well. But I'm sure a lot of people will like to time their attacks with 5 stacks of Ice Prison. But regardless, he is a character worth pulling for, because again, I can't stress this enough. I've been saying this over and over, but because he can play with everyone, it just makes it so much worth getting him. And this is almost exactly where like Arciela was, like when she first came out. She was so hyped up because she can play around with everyone at that time, and you know, she was so versatile that you can plop her in and she will definitely be able to help. She can buff with auras, she can debuff with, you know, HP silence. She was great, and she still is. And Kurasame sort of falls into that category. He's so versatile that, you know, people would love to have him in their party. So that is it for this video, guys. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help the channel, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys give me. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming. And again, if you're new to this channel, this is not how I usually do my Should You Pull videos. I do apologize. I'm still on night shift. I'm actually recording this like nearly a week early, so because I just don't have the time later on. So but anyway, you know, check out my older videos if you want to see what the usual Should You Pull format is. I just don't read stuff off here. I try to summarize as much as possible. That way you have, like, you know, like information that you don't have to keep looking back. What's the difference? What's, you know, I try to do that for you guys. So I mean, I still read off stuff obviously, but it's more structured. This one is more free-flowing, just giving you my thoughts. I try to stick with the structure, but sometimes it's kind of hard. But anyway, let me know down in the comments below, I guess, if you're pulling for this one, and I'm sure a lot of people are. And if you're not pulling for this banner, let me know why. You know, leave down in the comments below. Anyway, this is Munchkins logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next level.